Donald Trump is sticking to his guns despite heavy incoming fire over his call to block all Muslims from entering the U.S. in the wake of growing fears over ISIS terror strikes. Rival presidential candidates, other Republicans, and many Democrats are calling Trump everything from unhinged to un-American, and even one newspaper comparing him to Adolf Hitler. Chief political correspondent Carl Cameron has reaction.
Donald Trump's proposed moratorium on new Muslim immigrants and tourists prompted a rare public rebuke from House Speaker Paul Ryan today, the highest-ranking elected Republican in the country.
This is not conservatism. What was proposed yesterday is not what this party stands for, and more importantly, it's not what this country stands for.
A Florida Republican denounced Trump on the House floor, putting it in the permanent congressional record.
We must never require a religious test. It is time that my side of the aisle has one less candidate in the race for the White House. It is time for Donald Trump to withdraw from the race.
As dismay spread over Trump's written policy last night, he held a Pearl Harbor Day rally on a decommissioned World War II aircraft carrier in South Carolina and read it aloud.
A total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
GOP denunciations of Trump came from far and wide.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot.
This whole notion that somehow we can just say no more Muslims, just ban a whole religion, goes against everything we stand for and believe in.
But the world also seems like it's going crazy when Donald Trump, the front runner in the Republican Party, stands up last night and says, let's throw the Constitution out. I don't have a plan to defeat ISIS, so let's just ban all Muslims from entering the U.S.
He's not a serious candidate, and he's not going to win the nominations. And he's dividing the country.
John Kasich was confronted by a Trump backer who complained when Trump is branded a crazy racist, it labels her too.
What he said yesterday was unacceptable, and you know, I've been sharply critical of it. I mean, we don't need to divide people, whether it's attacking women or whether it's attacking Muslims or Hispanics.
Ted Cruz rejected Trump's idea, but not his candidacy.
I disagree with that proposal. I like Donald Trump. A lot of our friends here have encouraged me to criticize and attack Donald Trump. I'm not interested in doing so.
Rick Santorum opposes banning all Muslim tourists and immigrants, but backs a moratorium from nations with known populations of radicalized Islamists.
We should not be bringing people in from those countries right now.
Activist groups, including the Muslim Republican Coalition, called Trump's proposal un-American.
And it was very offensive. It's hate speech. I mean, in other parts of the world, it could be criminally prosecuted.
Donald Trump sounds more like a leader of a lynch mob than a great nation like ours.
Democrats are pounding Trump. Hillary Clinton tweeted, quote, "This is reprehensible, prejudiced, and divisive. At real Donald Trump, you don't get it. This makes us less safe."
What he said is disqualifying. And any Republican who's too fearful of the Republican base to admit it has no business serving as president either.
Amid all the blowback and despite having taken a GOP loyalty pledge, Trump today renewed the possibility of bolting the GOP and running as an independent. He says he doesn't care about complaints from Republican leaders, but right now, one of their biggest is that Trump is actually helping Democrats and hurting the Republican Party. And Shannon, a new poll in New Hampshire today from WMUR shows that Donald Trump is over 30% and way ahead of his nearest challenger, Marco Rubio, in the mid-teens.
Yeah, and some interesting numbers, too, about what happens if he leaves the GOP and what his followers would do. We'll talk about all of that with the panel. Thanks, Carl.